Okay, I'm live recording. Oh, this is week 2 of using this platform, and that's the story. So we're still in like test modes. We're gonna wait for Suanne to get in, and we have a fun show. We have a really good show for you today. It's a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, and we're having a difficult. It's a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, and I'm so excited that I have a good resource to discuss it. And invite Suanne Laqueur to broadcast. Here I go. I'm inviting you. There she is.
Yeah, I had to hit the online button. Go online.
Oh,
okay. I'm way close.
Hello. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay. It's been a crazy morning. Rachel's apartment caught fire last night, or her apartment building caught fire last night. So Will was up all night trying to figure out what was going on.
My friend's apartment building caught fire last night. I wonder if they live in the same building.
On Jane Street in the West Village?
No, this is like up on Upper East Side.
Oh, I heard about that one too.
Yeah, that was my friend's apartment.
Yeah, Will was like, I wonder if she's going to be at work today. And I was like, if my apartment building caught fire, I wouldn't be at work.
I need to move this way. Okay. I'm like off the camera.
No, I see you. You don't see you?
Well, from like my screen is split, so it was like half of
I see your whole cuteness. It's so cold out.
I know.
And it's raining. And today I have to leave the house 27 times because we have dentist appointments, your favorite thing. And
they're calling me and I'm like, the phone rings and I'm like,
I don't wanna.
I know, it's awful.
Me and the little have dentist appointments this afternoon, and then we have parent-teacher conferences tonight for the big one. So that will be first middle school ones. So
I've never been after middle school. I've never been to any parent-teacher conferences. I think in 6th grade, I emailed all the teachers and I said, just checking in. She seems to be doing fine.
Right.
I'll take no news as good news. If there's anything concerned, let me know. And they all emailed back like, well, everything's fine.
Right. Well, that's it. We have this, I don't know how you guys do grades up there, but we have this program that you get their grades updated every single day. And the teachers can send you emails and like private messages over this system, right? So I look at his grades every day. His lowest grade is like a 95.6.
What more do you need?
Why am I going?
Yeah.
But Will wants to go because he wants to check out some after school stuff, because I think that Wyatt has been lying to us about after school activity.
If they're chugging along and they're doing fine and they're not having anxiety or anything like that, they're fine.
Oh yeah. I don't care about the academics. I just don't want them in my house until 5:30.
Yeah.
Really, that's what I want.
Stay out of here.
Right. So hi.
Hi.
My friend Suanne. So okay, so here we are. I think Jackie's coming on. I'm not sure who else is going to be joining us, but we started this new little. Okay, so for anybody who's going to watch the replay or watch this live, meet my good friend Suanne Laqueur. She and I have known each other for a very long time.
We have known each other for a long time.
It's been long.
Yeah.
And we used to work together, and then I quit my job, and I know. And then I started doing this crazy stuff, and she has done all kinds of crazy stuff on her own also, following her dreams and being such a huge inspiration to me. Mm-hmm. So when we had the Blab over the summer, Suanne was one of my very first guests. And I enjoy talking to her just because. And
about anything, really.
About everything. Like, we have been known to kill several bottles of wine chatting in the evening.
We need to do that soon.
We do. You know what? Those pictures came up on Facebook yesterday, and I was like, oh my God. We all just need to go to the country and hang out.
And just do our crafty little thing.
Yep. So Suanne is, She has a regular day job, but she's also an author. And I know, like, that doesn't even count. Like, that doesn't even matter.
It doesn't even matter
like,
anymore.
Not even, it doesn't matter. Because has it been 3 years since you published?
Published 2014, I published my first. So in June, it will be 3 years.
So we are 2.5 years into Suanne blessing us with her amazing writing. She has written 5 books.
5.
Yes. So she has a series, and then she just she's about to release a new one.
Brand new.
That is not related to the last series of books.
Brand spanking new.
And I have had the pleasure of being on the front end of all of them. So I got to read them all before anybody else did.
Yep. All the little snippets, all the torture, the artist torture you get to go through.
Pre-edit sometimes, post-edit, all of it.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
And I have to say that, not because she's my friend, but these books are really amazing. And we're not here to talk about her books, but I'm here to plug them because everybody needs to buy every single Suanne Laqueur book out there on the planet, because you will not be
Let me quit my job.
Help her quit her job. Help her quit her job.
Help me quit my job.
Her books are fantastic, and her storylines are amazing. And I don't know where she finds these stories in her brain. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But they're really very, very good. And I always love to have you on here because you're fun to talk to. But I originally had somebody else slated for this time slot, and she couldn't make it. She had to pick up a shift at her job. She's a nurse. And she wanted to talk about postpartum depression. And so I wanted to keep that topic going because it's a topic that I think is extremely important.
Extremely important.
And I think that it is a topic that has only recently been circulating in the news because there were some celebrities a couple years ago talking about.
Celebrity comes forward, then it's
right. Then it's important. So several years ago, I don't know when. I think it came up on that weekend. I had some friends at, I think I'm live. Am I live? Jackie just said, are you live now?
We are live.
Hold on one moment. Yes. Can you see us? So I had a bunch of my girlfriends to our lake house, and, it's women all weekend, and it's a lot of, getting real and a lot of talking about your kids and talking about your marriages and talking about your relationships and breakups and really raw stuff. And we got to, these are women that I had been working with for several years and knew pretty well. I'd like to think that we knew each other pretty well. But after those 3 days together, it was like, I had no idea. It was like relearning everybody. And it was a very special weekend. And during that weekend, we learned that Suanne suffered from PPD when she had her first child, Julie. And both of them. So I thought, you know what, who better to talk about it? I don't want to table this conversation. I really want to talk about it, and it's important to talk about. So let's talk about it. So here we are talking about it. So I want Suanne, I want you to tell me or tell our viewers your experience with it and how you overcame it, because a lot of people don't, and it's a really scary, delicate subject,
and it can be a really shaming thing too, because here you are, you're supposed to be at this extremely happy part of your life. And I think also for women, I can't speak to this, but for women who went through IVF or worked a really long time to get pregnant and be pregnant, and all of a sudden they have this baby and you're feeling like, I made a mistake, I'm not bonding with it, I feel like crap. It could be really shitty, the whole focus, then, ricochets back on you saying, what is wrong with me?
Right.
And I think just the most important thing we can tell women is that there is nothing wrong with you, and this is extremely normal. And as soon as you start talking to people and telling about these women, they come out of the woodwork. They're like, oh, me too, me too. But we don't talk about it. We don't just,
No, yes, I wholeheartedly agree. And, you know, I don't think that I think that we would be remiss to, I'm just going to throw this out there, but I think every woman suffers some form of it. It might not be.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable.
I mean,
for 9 months, you're running like this wonderful estrogen high, which makes everything run very smoothly and the wheels are greased and everything is going. You give birth, you know, whether it's cesarean or natural, whatever,
yeah.
That estrogen goes, whoosh, and you're supposed to cope.
Yeah.
You're supposed to cope with that. You're supposed to cope with your body being absolutely hijacked. If it's your first child, you're learning how to, like, you know, perhaps how to nurse. You're not getting any sleep. You aren't really happy with the way you look.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst things is it's like nothing is attractive.
Nothing. There is nothing attractive about having a baby and having and being newly mothered.
It's a mess. It's a real mess. It makes you a mess. It makes your life a mess. It just like disrupts everything. And it's so at odds with what you think is supposed to be. It's supposed to be very joyful and it's very, which it is, but it's really those first 3 months.
They suck. They're life altering. They suck.
I would not. Oh God. You know, I just like, and I see friends who have babies and I'm so happy for them, but I'm like, oh my God,
no way. There's no way.
There is no way I would do that again.
No.
So
I agree. And I feel like even that stuff is stuff that we don't talk about. And, you know, I say it all the time and I'm going to write about it in my pregnancy book because I feel like, you know, it needs to be okay for us to be like, you know what? I don't love this from day one. I don't love it. I love this child.
Right.
But I don't love this whole
this scenario going on here. It's really, really hard. Now, both times, you know, with both my kids that I went into depression, it happened at a very specific time. And that's when I went back to work.
Also very trying and very difficult.
Tie into a whole conversation about this country's shitty maternity.
Oh, please. Like that's another. Right.
12 weeks is really not enough. And at 12 weeks, you're just hitting your stride. You are just finally putting it all together with some semblance of a routine and feeling like confident and, you know, juggling it all together. And then all of a sudden, if you are going back to work, you now have to craft a whole new routine. And maybe you have the stress of childcare. And what started to happen to me was I just felt like everyone needed a piece of me. So, you know, this baby needs a piece of me. My job needs a piece of me. You know, my husband needs a piece of me. And it's just like you feel just everyone wants something from you. You tend to get lost in that kind of shuffle. And that's when the depression both times started to kick into me. Now, the first time it happened, of course, I mean, I had my history with anxiety and depression, but I sensed this was something darker. I mean, really darker. And I was up in the middle of the night, up in Vermont, at my husband's parents' condo that they had in Vermont, up in the middle of the night. And I was very lucky. My mother-in-law got up with me. She's a registered nurse. She works in the family practice that, you know, takes care of all our family. Yeah. And she was the one who really convinced me. I was like, you know what? I need assistance. I need help. I need something going on here. And, you know, I went to see my doctor and he put me on Zoloft and I had a hard time in the beginning. I was like, oh my God, you know, I'm just defective and I've got to be on this and blah, blah, blah. But when you do that, the way he explained it to me, he was like, this is not going to fix everything. I mean, if you got some kind of issue going on, all this is going to do is get the floor back under your feet. This is just going to cut out those extreme ends of the spectrum so you can find like some kind of middle ground where you can stand. And he goes, but he goes, this only works effectively if it's hand in hand with behavioral therapy, with counseling, with talk. So putting the two together. And that set me on a journey back to myself, really. Okay. And then so that was with my first child, my daughter. With my second child, it was a postpartum depression in the wake of, like, you know, two of the worst years of my life with my husband together, where we had miscarried a child, and then he lost his father, and then I was diagnosed with cancer, and then we moved, and it was just like this 2-year thing.
Right.
And then finally, you know, right around that 12-week time when I start to go back to work, and AJ, I love him so much, my man. He was a difficult kid.
He is
really hard. He was a hard kid.
I love him so much too.
I love him too, but man, he entered the world angry. He was not ready to be born. He was late and did not want to be born. Like the kid really needed a fourth trimester.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like if I could have put him back for another 3 months, he'd been fine.
If he was a year, he'd been fine.
Yeah. So, you know, it was a difficult child on top of difficult circumstances, and the bottom fell out.
Yeah.
That was a much more severe one, but it had a lot more going on
in
it. But I knew what I had to do. I was like, go back on these things, and then I got to go see my therapist, and I have to go. And that was a hard one. That was a really, really hard one. There were times when I was like, I am not going to, there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And I remember I even like worked this into my book somehow. It's like, you have to believe the light is there. You have to believe that there's an end to this. And I remember I walked a lot. Jeez, I walked miles. I would just walk and walk and walk and walk and walk. Because it's all you can do. And then I remember another time I was lying on my living room floor. I was just like this. And my mother called me. And she goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm lying on the floor embracing my sadness." And I was like, and she was like, "Good for you."
What? Great. You mean to come over?
And she was like, "Good, great." I was like, "I'm not fighting it. I am just, this is what it is right now."
Yeah.
It will not be. And that was kind of the turning point. I remember it started to turn around afterward, but yeah, it was scary. Really scary. Really, really scary, because those feelings, man, after he was born, they were very, very intense feelings of, I made a mistake. And you feel ugly when you think those kinds of things. You just feel really awful and ugly when you think those kinds of things. So it's tough. It's tough.
It is tough.
Hard.
And I think
it's messy.
It's messy. And then, and how does, I just remember having my kids, and I don't recall nothing with Elias.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember after having Wyatt, I think I was jealous because I had taken the first severance package from Verizon or MCI, whoever the hell we were working for at the time, because I knew I was having a baby. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to take the severance package and I'll come back.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And so I took 10 months off with him. And so that was a great thing to have, except in those 10 months, we had to move and we had all this other stuff going on. So it was like, I didn't have a connection to anybody here because my parents live in Florida and my, my mother-in-law lives in New Hampshire. So I didn't have, a mother figure. And there was a lot of me being by myself with this baby. And he was a great kid. He was a great baby. He was very easy. But I can remember, I think I was jealous. I think I was jealous of Will because he got to go to work every single day.
They got to go.
And I had to stay home. And then it was like, okay, well, now I have to either go find friends or go find something for us to do, or, I have to clean the house again, or I had to, there was no, and I don't think he didn't understand. I always say that for the first year of Wyatt's life, I absolutely hated my husband for absolutely no reason. I was like, I hated your guts. Hated you. And I don't know, there's no reason why. He's a great guy, and he helped and he did all kinds of stuff, but I just couldn't. And trust me, not even close. No, I didn't have to be on anything. There was no, but I feel like we all go through some point of that after the birth of our children.
It changes.
And nobody tells you it's going to suck. Everyone says, oh, it sucks because they don't sleep and it sucks because they don't latch. And it takes a really long time to figure all that. You know what? That I will take that stuff any other day of the week over. I don't feel good about me. And it didn't have anything to do with how maybe it did with how I looked or whatever. I wasn't, it takes a little while. It takes time to get back and all that other shit that you're getting told and whatever. And the estrogen and the hormone levels and all that nonsense. But yes, my Aunt April is on here right now. And she just said, your whole life changes.
Everything.
And when you're not, and listen, I can recall, I was telling the story to a friend of mine the other day because she's going to try to have kids soon. And I said, she's like, how, what was it? And I was like, I was 30, I delivered on my 33rd birthday and I still thought I was not ready to be a mother.
Yeah.
And she was like, wait, what? I said, yeah, I remember peeing on the stick. Will and I had been married for almost 4.5 years. And I was like, what are we going to tell everybody? What are we going to do? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I felt like the 15-year-old girl that gets pregnant on the first time. And you're like, that's how I felt. And he was like, you're crazy. Yeah. And we're going to have a baby. Like, why is this in your brain? Because it wasn't ever really, for me, something that I longed to do.
Yeah.
I wasn't longing to have a baby. I wasn't like, let's get married and have babies. We were married for a long time before we had babies. We were together for a long time before we got married. Like, we had almost 9 years under our belt before our kids came into the world.
Right.
And so I wasn't like, we have to do this. And I didn't have that urge. It was like, okay, I guess it's time now.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people are afraid to admit, because so many people struggle to even be blessed with getting pregnant, right? And it's like, and I know plenty of those people too, but it's like, you know what? Their feelings are valid and my feelings were just as valid. And I don't think that we talk about that enough either, because
well, yeah, it goes back to the shaming thing. Like, you know, it's like, if you're going through postpartum depression and down and you have a very close friend who can't get pregnant, I mean, you don't want to open your mouth. You don't feel,
no.
Yeah. So and that's really, really hard. Or even if you yourself worked very hard to get pregnant and then all of a sudden you're like, I think
you're having this feeling.
What? This was $10,000. So there's a monetary thing in there. It's really, really hard. And I was going to say something and it went right out of my freaking head.
Got to write notes.
Yeah.
I jot things down. So now I want to know about what it does to your relationship. So like, you and JP have been together for a long time.
Right.
You have a great marriage. I mean, I've only known you to have a great marriage. But what, like, how does that, you know, like, was he like, whoa, we have to fix you? Whoa, how can I help you? Or he was like, oh, Jesus, what do I do?
Well, the first time he was like, you know, whatever you need, I'm there. The second time was much more difficult. And this also works into the shame and guilt thing. The man had just lost his father.
Right. And I know his
he had gone through this thing. And so he had, you know, we talked about this, you know, he had a little bit of resentment, a little bit of anger, like, you know, Jesus Christ, you know, like,
right. Let me have my time.
Let me have my time too. But then he was kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. While my father was dying, you were having surgery when you were 5 months pregnant for thyroid cancer. And you kind of, and even a cousin of his said many years later, she said, you really got lost in the shuffle, didn't you? And I was like, thank you. You know, so
wow.
It was much more, it was much more complicated with my son. So much more going on. Communication is critical. And I think also because a lot of postpartum depression feelings, it's really hard to get your finger on what's wrong. And men, we know, like to fix it. They like a problem and they want to fix it. And you know, when you're sick, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong. I just feel terrible. I just feel terrible. There's nothing they can do. And they hate feeling helpless. Like that. And so, I mean, I would have to get real specific with JP that it was just like, I'm just going to sit next to you. I just want to sit next to you, you know, or just, you know, can you get Chinese food? Or it had nothing to do with how much he was helping or whatever. But I remember with Julie, my first one, when he was working downtown in the city, I mean, I would be, you know what it is? You come home and you have a baby and maybe your mother does come. Or your sister-in-law comes and people come and they bring food and there's all these hands and all this help. But it gets to a point where the excitement dies down. They go away. Your husband goes back to work and all of a sudden you are alone in the house with the baby. And I remember looking at the clock. It would be like 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. And I'm like, he's not even on the train yet. It's another 2 hours. Before he gets home. And now, of course, they get home, they're tired. And what are you doing? Fling, you know, here, take them. You know? So it's, maybe we all need subsidized nanny for the first.
Right? That should be a thing.
It's like, I heard it once, it's like, you know, we're the only culture that, you know, every other, like, you know, culture in the world, you have a baby and you're not left alone for 3 months. You know, like you just, your job is just hold the baby, you know, and everything else is like.
And hold the baby and everyone else takes care of you.
We retreat within, you know, we retreat in our house and our just, you know, and we go at it alone. And And I don't know if that's just something we do. And also, I mean, you have to, when you have that newborn, it's so hard to get out of the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes you an hour and like, you know, and baggage to get out of the house. And it just goes back into that thing that nothing is simple anymore. Nothing is, you know, there's just no quick running out for coffee.
No.
You're carrying the baby seat and
all this shit.
All this shit. Yeah. So it's very disruptive. But you know, at every phase, I have to say, compared to the teen years on a marriage, the newborn, it's pretty easy. It's different. I mean, you trade in one set of problems for a better set of problems. You're just going on and on and on. The teen years have been real. I mean, this is a whole other talk, but the teen years have been tough. Because the little shits, you know, they get intentions and they learn how to manipulate you and they have a say and they have an opinion. And all of a sudden, you know, you really have to work a united front here against them.
Yeah.
And So, but with a baby, it's kind of like, should we put this onesie on?
Right. Look, this is so cute.
And it's sort of like rock, paper, scissors, your turn to change the baby. And
right. Isn't it crazy? Like you say that, like everyone's like, oh, the first year is the hardest. And I'm like, no. I'll tell you what, I will take changing diapers for the rest of my life if I don't have to deal with my 11-year-old.
The back talk. Yeah. I do remember coming home with my son and, you know, and I have a 3-year-old at home. That's lots of fun. But it was sort of like, you know, newborn, put the newborn down. Newborn stays where I put him. And it was like, you know, for a little while, it was kind of like, no problem. I got this.
Yeah.
I got this piece of cake.
Yeah.
But then, you know.
So you would say, you know, talking about it,
get help,
communicating about it,
get help. Go to your doctor. Tell them you're not going to they're not going to judge you. They're not going to scare. They're not going to pass out. They're not going to yell at you. They're not going to get help. Get help.
And talk about it.
And talk about it. And it's fine to say I'm feeling pretty shitty, because you can feel shitty and do other things at the same time. Yeah. Saying I'm feeling kind of crappy, and I'm going grocery shopping. You know, and like, you know,
every day.
You can feel and carry on, and you will not feel that way forever. There is light at the end of the tunnel, but you know, don't go it alone.
Right.
Don't go it alone. It's crappy alone.
No,
a lot of women. I mean, like, you know, just, you know, us too, or just that weekend up at the lake house. It happens. It happens in some degree or another. It happens to everyone.
Yeah. And you know, listen, none of this shit is easy. And I base my life on it at this point, but it's like, you know, communication is the single most important thing. And like I was on a live webinar last night talking about maximizing time management for busy parents and all that kind of stuff. And it really boils down to having the right tools to be able to communicate what you need and accepting the communication from everybody else around you who they're trying to help you or trying to make you understand a certain thing a certain way, or however it is that you're going through your situations. Right. And so, yes, communicate about it, find a support group, get help from your doctor. Like I feel like stop with the shaming. Yeah. And like, let's just face it and let's just do it and let's just help each other through it.
And if you have a friend who's going through it, or anyone you know who's going through it, you can't tell them just to snap out of it. You can't, whatever. I mean, like the best things to really say are, tell me about it, or
how can I help you?
Can I help you? Can I do anything? Can I come over and just,
what do you need? Or just bring them stuff.
Yeah. Really just bring them stuff, or just come and let them, you know, say, I will watch the baby an hour, go take a walk. And speaking of which, I mean, like, you know, we all hear this, but exercise, if you can get out and move.
Yep. Very helpful.
It will make you feel better, but it's good for your body. And
and it clears your mind. Listen,
it clears your mind. It kills an hour.
Even if it's a half hour, like, you know, just do it. Just do
something.
Go for a walk. Go, you know, every day. Like even if I don't go to the gym, I at least have 30 minutes. It takes me 30 minutes to walk Elias to school and 15 minutes, like it's a total of 30 minutes, 15 there and 15 back. And it's like, I just walked almost 2 miles.
Yep.
And on the way back, at least, I got to clear my brain. And sometimes I take the long way, and sometimes I take a different route, and sometimes, you know, whatever. But it's like, it's time for me to plan my day. This is how I'm going to like make things happen. And I think that's just a good thing to do every day generally. Like, take 30 minutes for yourself. It's all you need. Like, you just need, like, find a closet.
You need the closet. Take a shower, take a half-hour shower. But then, you know, if you can work it out with your husband saying, I need 45 minutes.
Yep.
At the time, I need 45 minutes and I don't need anyone to talk to me. Or just,
right.
Leave me alone. I'm going to go to Target. I'm going to, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Because if you're a person that's used to huge chunks of time for yourself, it's a big adjustment.
Yes.
Big adjustment to that you can't do anything uninterrupted anymore. That's hard.
Right. Right.
Really, really hard.
Okay. I loved this conversation.
I did too.
This was good. So tell us where we can find your books.
All my books are on Amazon, iBooks, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Google Play, and Smashwords. And that's and print. And my next one is coming out. When is your birthday?
November 25th.
Okay,
mine's coming out November 22nd. Birthday.
Mine's coming out November 22nd, my next one.
An exaltation of larks.
Larks, yay! And
lark, I mean, like, I feel like everything needs to be tattooed. Like, you need a little fish tattoo. You need like
I almost want to do my book's ISBN numbers. Like, you know, just keep going them down.
I thought all your numbers of your arm.
The barcode.
Right?
I know. Here's my book. Yeah, it's been real fun. So the next one's coming out November 2nd, and then we'll see what happens.
So proud of you. So proud of you. Oh, there it is. Jackie just put it on the chat. You can get it at Amazon. Look at her.
Amazon.com. Yep.
She found it.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie. The best. Okay, so I am going to thank you everybody for watching. Aunt April, it was so good to have you here. So excited that you're watching this.
Yes.
And I thank you so much, because I think when I hang this up, oh no, I can just go off air. I'm going to go off air.
Okay. I lost you.